On Mount Carmel, a single prayer summoned fire from heaven, consuming not just wood and sacrifice, but centuries of religious certainty. Was this divine intervention, or did nature itself conspire to create one of history's most dramatic moments? Today, we explore where ancient faith meets modern science in the mysterious case of Elijah's heavenly fire. In the 9th century BCE, the kingdom of Israel stood at a spiritual crossroads. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel had introduced the worship of Baal, the Canaanite storm god, creating a religious crisis that threatened to tear the nation apart. Into this chaos stepped Elijah, a prophet whose very name meant "My God is Yahweh." The confrontation wasn't just about competing deities. It was about the fundamental nature of divine power itself. Baal was believed to control rain, storms, and fertility, making him particularly appealing to an agricultural society. His priests performed elaborate rituals, including dancing, chanting, and self-mutilation, believing these acts would compel their god to respond with fire from the sky. Elijah's challenge was audacious beyond measure. He proposed a test that would determine once and for all which deity possessed true power over the elements. 2 altars would be prepared, 2 sacrifices offered, but no human fire would be lit. The God who answered with fire would be proven genuine. This wasn't merely a religious debate. It was a cosmic showdown that would determine the spiritual direction of an entire nation. The location itself held profound significance. Mount Carmel, rising 1,800 feet above the Mediterranean, was already considered sacred ground. Ancient peoples recognized it as a place where earth touched heaven, where the natural world seemed particularly receptive to supernatural intervention. Archaeological evidence suggests the mountain had been a site of religious activity for millennia, making it the perfect amphitheater for this ultimate test of divine authority. What makes this challenge so compelling is how it directly confronted the central claim of Baal worship. If Baal truly controlled lightning and fire from heaven, surely he would demonstrate his power when called upon by 450 devoted priests. Elijah's confidence in proposing such a test suggests either unprecedented faith or knowledge of natural phenomena that others lacked. The stage was set for one of history's most dramatic theological confrontations. As dawn broke over Mount Carmel, hundreds of witnesses gathered to observe the unprecedented contest. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation literally and figuratively. King Ahab himself attended, along with representatives from across Israel, creating an audience that would ensure the results spread throughout the kingdom regardless of the outcome. The priests of Baal went first, constructing their altar with meticulous care. They arranged the wood, prepared the bull for sacrifice, and began their ritualistic appeals to their storm god. From morning until noon, they danced around the altar, their voices rising in desperate supplication. Their movements became increasingly frenzied as the hours passed without response. Elijah's taunting during this period reveals either cruel mockery or calculated psychology. He suggested that perhaps Baal was busy, traveling, or even asleep, insults that cut to the heart of pagan theology. These weren't random jibes, but strategic challenges to fundamental beliefs about divine nature. A God who could be absent, distracted, or unconscious was hardly worthy of worship. The priest's response grew more extreme. They cut themselves with swords and spears until blood flowed freely, a common practice in Baal worship intended to awaken divine attention through sympathetic suffering. Their dedication was absolute, their desperation palpable. Yet the altar remained cold, the sacrifice unconsumed, the heavens silent. This phase of the contest serves a crucial narrative purpose. It establishes the complete failure of human effort to compel divine response. Despite hours of ritualistic perfection, emotional intensity, and physical sacrifice, nothing happened. The silence from heaven was deafening, creating a dramatic contrast for what would follow. The stage was now set for Elijah's turn. with expectations simultaneously heightened and deflated by the morning's futile display. When Elijah finally stepped forward, his approach was radically different from the frenzied efforts of Baal's priests. His first act was to repair the altar of the Lord that had been torn down, a symbolic restoration of proper worship that carried deep spiritual significance for the assembled Israelites. He used 12 stones, representing the 12 tribes of Israel, creating a tangible reminder of national unity under divine covenant. The most puzzling aspect of Elijah's preparation was his use of water. In a time of severe drought, when water was precious beyond measure, he commanded that 4 large jars be filled and poured over the sacrifice and wood. This wasn't done once, but 3 times, until water ran around the altar and filled the surrounding trench he had dug. From a scientific perspective, this water creates fascinating possibilities. Modern analysis suggests that during periods of extreme drought, underground gas pockets can form, particularly in limestone regions like Mount Carmel. The water, seeping into cracks and crevices, might have served as a conductor for electrical discharge or created conditions favorable for unusual chemical reactions. The timing of Elijah's prayer is also significant. He waited until the time of the evening sacrifice, around 3 p.m. This corresponds to a period when atmospheric conditions on mountains often shift dramatically. Thermal updrafts created by daytime heating can interact with cooling air masses, creating ideal conditions for electrical activity. Mediterranean weather patterns in this region are notoriously unpredictable, with sudden storms capable of materializing within minutes. Meteorologists have noted that Mount Carmel's position creates a natural funnel for electrical activity. Its height, coastal proximity, and geological composition make it particularly susceptible to lightning strikes. Whether Elijah understood these natural patterns through observation or divine inspiration remains a matter of interpretation, but his timing proved impeccable. Elijah's prayer was remarkably brief and simple compared to the hours of elaborate ritual that preceded it. He called upon the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel to demonstrate his reality and restore the people's faith. There were no dramatic gestures, no self-inflicted wounds, no frenzied dancing, just a quiet, confident appeal to divine power. The response was immediate and devastating. Fire fell from heaven, consuming not only the sacrifice and wood, but also the stones, soil, and water around the altar. Witnesses described the phenomenon as supernatural fire that devoured everything it touched, leaving nothing but scorched earth where the altar had stood. Scientific analysis of this event reveals several intriguing possibilities. Lightning strikes can reach temperatures of 30,000 Kelvin, 5 times hotter than the sun's surface. Such intense heat can indeed vaporize stone and soil, creating the complete consumption described in the biblical account. The presence of water might have actually enhanced the effect, creating steam that could carry the fire's reach further than would otherwise be possible. Geological surveys of Mount Carmel have revealed underground deposits of bitumen and natural gas substances that could ignite explosively under the right conditions. A lightning strike hitting precisely the right spot could trigger a chain reaction, creating the impression of fire that burned beyond natural limits. The wet conditions might have served as a perfect conductor, drawing the electrical discharge directly to the altar. Some researchers have proposed that Elijah might have understood local geological conditions better than his contemporaries. Knowledge of underground gas deposits, combined with observation of weather patterns, could have allowed him to predict when and where lightning might strike. This doesn't diminish the event's significance. It merely suggests that divine action might work through natural means rather than despite them. The witnesses' reaction was unanimous and immediate. They fell on their faces, crying out that the Lord was God. This wasn't mere religious enthusiasm, but a visceral response to witnessing something that transcended their understanding of natural law. Whether supernatural or natural, the fire's arrival at that precise moment, in those exact circumstances, created an undeniable demonstration of power that transformed the spiritual landscape of Israel. Contemporary scientists have applied rigorous analysis to the Elijah narrative, producing theories that range from plausible to exotic. Atmospheric physicists point to Baal lightning, a rare but documented phenomenon where electrical energy forms glowing spheres that can persist for minutes and cause unusual destruction patterns. Witnesses to Baal lightning often describe it as seeming to consume objects in ways that normal fire cannot. Chemists have explored the possibility of thermite reactions, combinations of metal oxides, and aluminum that can burn at extremely high temperatures. If the altar stones contained iron ore, and if certain atmospheric conditions were present, a lightning strike could theoretically trigger reactions hot enough to melt stone. The water might have contained dissolved minerals that enhanced these chemical processes. Archaeological investigation of Mount Carmel has revealed fascinating geological features. Underground caverns contain deposits of bitumen, sulfur, and phosphorus compounds, all naturally occurring substances that could contribute to spectacular fire displays under the right conditions. Ancient peoples might have unknowingly built altars over these deposits, creating the potential for dramatic divine manifestations. Meteorological data from the region shows that Mount Carmel experiences unusual weather patterns. The convergence of Mediterranean sea breezes with desert air masses creates microclimate conditions that can generate sudden, intense electrical storms. Lightning strikes on the mountain are statistically more frequent than in surrounding areas, making it a natural choice for anyone seeking to demonstrate celestial fire. However, scientific explanations raise as many questions as they answer. Even if natural phenomena could account for the fire, what explains the precise timing? How did Elijah know exactly when to expect the phenomenon? Why did his simple prayer succeed where hours of elaborate ritual failed? The intersection of faith and science in this narrative creates a mystery that transcends easy categorization. Modern believers and skeptics alike grapple with these questions. Some see scientific explanations as diminishing the miracle, while others view them as revealing how divine power operates through natural law. The debate reflects broader tensions between religious and scientific worldviews, with the Elijah narrative serving as a particularly vivid case study in the complexity of supernatural claims. The story of Elijah and the fire from heaven ultimately confronts us with the boundaries of human comprehension. Even our most sophisticated scientific instruments and theories cannot fully explain the convergence of timing, conditions, and outcomes that characterize this ancient event. We are left with tantalizing possibilities, but no definitive answers. Perhaps this uncertainty is itself significant. The narrative seems designed to provoke wonder rather than provide explanations. It challenges us to consider whether some experiences transcend the categories we use to organize reality. The fire from heaven exists at the intersection of history and mystery, faith and physics, ancient testimony, and modern skepticism. Contemporary discussions of the Elijah account reveal how we still struggle with questions that have persisted for millennia. Can natural phenomena serve as vehicles for supernatural intervention? Does understanding the mechanism diminish the meaning? Are we limited by assuming that divine action must violate natural law rather than work through it? The witnesses on Mount Carmel experienced something that transformed their understanding of reality. Whether that transformation came through supernatural intervention or extraordinary natural phenomena may be less important than recognizing the profound impact of encountering forces beyond our control or comprehension. Modern science has given us unprecedented insight into atmospheric physics, geological chemistry, and electrical phenomena. Yet the more we learn about the complexity of natural systems, the more we might appreciate how extraordinary events can emerge from the intersection of countless variables. The fire from heaven reminds us that reality is far stranger and more wonderful than our everyday experience suggests. In the end, the story challenges us to remain open to mystery while pursuing understanding. Whether we approach it through the lens of faith or science, the Elijah narrative invites us to consider that the universe may contain dimensions of reality that neither religious doctrine nor scientific theory can fully capture. The fire from heaven burns on, illuminating the limits of human knowledge while pointing toward truths that transcend our categories of understanding. 3,000 years later, we still debate what fell from the sky that day on Mount Carmel. Science offers mechanisms, faith provides meaning, but the mystery endures. Perhaps the real miracle isn't the fire itself, but how a single moment continues to ignite questions about the nature of reality, divine power, and the thin line between the natural and supernatural that defines our existence.